Hi, Sharice Okamoto with Caliber Real Estate Group here with the market report. This is recorded on April 11th, Saturday before Easter. Hope everybody is doing okay. Everybody's staying safe. Your family is doing well. Wanted to start out with the mortgage news. There's a ton of false headlines out there, if you will. Loans are still being closed. It's a little bit harder to qualify for them. They're asking for more in reserves. We had a VA loan close yesterday. It closed a day late just because the lenders are overwhelmed. Interest rates are back down into the low threes. So people are still refinancing on top of purchasing homes. So they're just overwhelmed by the volume. Jumbo loans are still available. They're just super hard to get. Wells Fargo kind of pulled out of that space. You may still be able to get a jumbo loan if you bank with Wells Fargo, but the lenders who were brokering deals to Wells Fargo, the jumbo loans to Wells Fargo, that's no longer available. There are still a couple of other of the big banks that are doing jumbo loans, but they're just super tough to get. They're not gone completely like the news is saying. They're just a lot harder to get. Last thing I want to cover on the mortgage stuff is if you have lost your job, please contact your servicer before you stop paying your mortgage. Nobody is super sure on what they're going to do. Are they going to make you repay what you missed as a balloon payment right when you go back to work? Are they going to tack that onto the end of your loan? Nobody is really sure. But they are speculating that it's going to affect your credit. So if you are able to pay your mortgage, pay it 100%. If you can, pay it. If you have lost your job and you're not able to, contact your servicer to see what the repayment is going to look like, how it's going to affect your credit. Because if you're borderline making that mortgage payment, you could probably do it, but you're super close. If, let's say, for example, you're at a 4.5% interest rate right now, and in 6 months when you're back to work, you're caught up, everything is back to normal, you want to refi because rates may get down into the low twos, and that'll save you a ton of money on your monthly payment. You're not going to be able to do that refi if you didn't make your mortgage payment now, because 9 times out of 10 it's going to affect your credit. So if you just call your servicer just to see how it's going to affect you if you can't make your payment. But if you can, like I said, make your payment. Okay, does recession equal housing crisis? Well, let me back up. Are we in a recession? What does a recession mean? Recession is the GDP is lower for 2 consecutive quarters in a row. So Q1 numbers are out. It was lower than it was for Q4 of last year. And obviously Q2 numbers are going to be lower because there's been a halt in everything that's happening, obviously. So are we in a recession by the true definition? Not quite yet, but yes, it's going to happen, right? We are in that economic slowdown. Now, that does not mean that it's going to be a housing crash like it was in 2008. So Ivy Zelman is one of the leading real estate forecasters, and she puts out the Z report. And the numbers in blue here show what she was predicting prior to COVID-19 happening, right? So she was saying this year we're going to see appreciation of 4.7%, next year down to 3.8. She hadn't predicted the 2022 numbers prior to COVID coming out. So that's why the NA is there. Now, after COVID has happened, she is still predicting appreciation, right? That's what people, I think the biggest misunderstanding is, because they see this drop from 4.7 to 3, you're not going in a negative fashion. You're not losing value of your home, you're just not appreciating as quickly as they were predicting, right? Last year, depending where you were, home prices values appreciated 8-9% in some places in California. Well, now we're only predicted to appreciate 3%, which is a huge drop, but it's still appreciation. Okay, so now we're looking into 2021, and she's predicting that we're going to be at 4.2% appreciation, and 2022 4.6. So I think the biggest takeaway from this is that home values are still going to appreciate. This year, it's going to be a lot lower than we had predicted, right? That's because our stay-at-home orders, a lot of people's works have been affected. So, but it does not mean that we're going to go back to 2008 where everybody has to short sale their home, lose their home to foreclosure, whatnot. This is the GDP from the predictions from the three largest financial institutions, I guess. Goldman Sachs, JP Morgan, and Morgan Stanley are all saying that it's going to be ugly Q2, right? Which we all know. With the job loss, with everything that's happening, it's going to get ugly this next quarter, or this quarter that we're in right now. But this is the more important thing to look at, right? In historical times, every time there's been a pandemic, it's been a V-type recovery, which is what they're predicting is going to happen this time as well. So in Q3, it's going to be a pretty quick recovery, which is awesome, right? This is not where it's going to be like the Great Depression where it lasted for years and years. They're saying that we're going to recover in Q3 already. Okay, so everybody is asking about unemployment, and with unemployment so high, I think the number is at 18 million have been laid off or are have applied for unemployment. So that number is high. Goldman Sachs is predicting that we're going to see numbers as high as 15% this year that apply for unemployment. Now, there's three different reports out. Goldman Sachs is the most conservative at 15%. There was another one at 12, and I believe one at 8. What they were predicting 8% for this year. So this is again the most conservative of the three reports. But here's where it's important, right? People are gonna go back to work, whether it's later this year or in 2021. It's not like the recession in 2008 where people who were being laid off were in the mortgage industry. Those jobs didn't bounce back right away. These numbers at 15% are people who are going to come back. The receptionist at your doctor's office is going to get rehired. The server, the bartender, those people are going to get rehired once the stay-at-home orders are lifted, right? So they're predicting that in 2021, the numbers will drop pretty drastically and drop all the way back to 4% in 2023. Now, what I think is, we'll skip this one real quick, is when you look at the numbers comparatively speaking to the other years, right? The Great Recession in 2008, numbers were at 9, almost 10%, but really it was bad for about 3 years, right? If you go back and look at the Great Depression, numbers got as high as almost 25%. And it lasted for a good number of years where we're saying, or they're predicting that it'll be 15 this year. And look, it's going to drop quickly, right? So when you look at the big picture, yes, it's going to be bad this quarter, right? There's no denying that. But we're going to bounce back quickly. And when you look at it comparatively speaking to the Great Depression, it doesn't look as bad. Okay, back to this slide. There is not a direct correlation with unemployment rates and housing prices. This first point here, prices actually went up as unemployment rate increased. Same thing happened here. Unemployment jumped up here, housing prices continued to go up. Here in 2009-10, unemployment went up and housing prices went down, right? So there's not, sometimes they go up, sometimes they go down. There's not a direct correlation. So with the large number of people applying for unemployment right now, that again, it doesn't mean that the housing market is going to crash. If you have particular questions about your situation, we're here to help. If you want general information on Orange, North Tustin, wherever about your neighborhood, we'll be happy to put together that report for you. If you need to sell right now, reach out to us. We are still listing properties. Like I said, we just closed one, a listing that we put up right before COVID happened. And we were able to get that one closed within, I think that one took about 31 days. and we had multiple offers on that one as well. So we are still listing properties. Buyers are still looking. We put a buyer into escrow this past week as well. We're doing virtual showings. We're keeping the sellers and buyers safe, following all of the guidelines that have been put out there. So if you have any questions, please feel free to reach out to us. Hope you guys are staying safe. And if you need anything, we're here to help. Thanks so much. Have a great day.